Hello, we're back for part 3 of the tutorial on spins and flips. This is where we're going to deal with some of the last of the aerials, the last of the flips, and we'll move on in futures to hand rolls and that sort of thing. I wanted to give you a brief word of caution before we start on this one. Uh, some of the moves that are in here are among the more potentially damaging and dangerous of the moves that I know. I have a stunt saber with a badly fractured battery pack and a blade with a pretty big crack down it to prove that this can be pretty hazardous. So practicing over soft areas, practicing with stunt sabers, probably highly recommended. You know we're getting down to business because I've taken the claws off and makes it a little bit safer for me because at the same point we don't want to damage the saber, we also don't want to damage our hands trying to do these. So in past tutorials rather, we talked about some of the flips, and I wanted to break it down this time in terms of rotations. It's been pointed out to me that I didn't cover the half rotation. That's something that others have covered, but I'll cover it very briefly here. The half rotation, if we have the saber, half rotation, half rotation. Okay. The two together make up a full rotation of the blade. Now this is good for switching your grip from reverse grip to regular grip. Okay, so the half rotation, and if we chain these together, it looks like that. You'll see that one hand is always in reverse grip, the other always in forward grip. Alright, so if we have the half, we also have the full. Now last time I showed you this one, just to slow it down here. Thumb to thumb, hands together, thumb to thumb. Alright, so the full rotations, the two of them together, the blade is making two rotations. And if we do them on opposite sides of the body, you end up with this, or that. Alright, the last one that was only briefly covered last time was the rotation and a half. And this is where it starts to get a little bit tricky. The rotation and a half, just so you can see the contact version of it before we get into the aerials, I'm going to release the blade and I'm going to spin it across my thumb and catch it with the other hand. So, something like that. Okay, let me do that, or try that one more time here. Okay. It needs a little bit of speed or else the saber falls. You have to generate the force so that it will flip around your thumb. Okay. Yeah, almost lost it there. Alright. And the opposite side of that is okay. In the one sense, I'm rolling it around the thumb. In the other sense, I'm rolling it over the back of my hand. Right, and it's really hard to do slowly, but we'll try it again at a little bit of speed. Okay, now that's going to be the basis for some of the hand rolls later down the road. The aerial version of this, if we're going back and forth here, looks something like this. Once again, one side is always in reverse grip. This side I'm doing in forward grip. Reverse, forward. Okay, just to turn around so you can see what it looks like on the other side. Okay, so that's the aerial version of it. These flip and a half, they'll reverse your hand grip just like the others, and in the last tutorial I showed you that sort of chain together. We do the flip and a half to reverse, and then the half to get back. It's because it's very hard or very difficult to get used to doing that flip and a half with the left hand doing the flipping. You have to be certain that you get enough rotation in it. But with all of these chained together, you end up with a lot of what I showed you in tutorial section 2.5, where I showed you them all chained together. This just gives you the ability to see them a little bit more slowed down. One last thing that I wanted to show you in this one was the full rotation. Okay, this is with a hand switch. Okay, should we elect to not do the hand switch, you notice that the saber is making 2 rotations on each side of the body. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I can elect to let the saber do that on its own. It has the force, it has the point of balance, it's going to pivot right around here. So, if I just give it a little bit of height, I get a basic flip, which is basically the same thing I was doing with the hand switch, except I'm just taking the other hand out of the equation, getting my hand out of the way in time, so that the saber can make its rotation and then re-catching it. And this is a downward wield. Do a downward wield with the opposite hand. Okay. Then we also have an upward wield. And if you're able to do that and get used to it, then in the future tutorials, we'll look at, instead of moving the hand out of the way in order to let the saber do the flip, trying to just maneuver the hand around the saber, which is where we're going to get a basic hand roll. But that, again, is for another tutorial. Hopefully this has been informational to you, and I'll see you on the forums.